Hey folks, totally not named Dan here, though you can call me that if you want, and today we have a bit more of an update on what's coming soon in the My Hero Academia card game and UniVersus as a whole, as we move into doing more than just My Hero, like we have been for the last couple of years. To talk about that, I'm going to bring in my buddy here, Cutest Link.
Hello.
Mostly because you're heading away for the holidays soon, so I figured it'd be good to get you in for a video before we do all that.
Fair enough, yeah.
One or two. So for a while we have known we are getting next, after set 6 of My Hero Academia, we're getting Yu Yu Hakusho. And
Yep.
then not long ago it was announced that we'd probably be getting a bit of Godzilla and that we'd be getting a full set of Attack on Titan. There are a few other things that have been said, like Attack on Titan was actually rumored by a now ex-employee at Nationals, who may also have let slip a little something else regarding negotiations and Scott Pilgrim.
Is that why he's an ex-employee now?
No, we think that the reason is because he was stealing promos, but we're not sure.
Oh, fair enough.
So on top of that, it has also been mentioned that we'll be getting challenger decks, which are 60 card starter decks, basically, designed for taking straight into tournaments for franchises that aren't in the game proper. And the first two we'll be getting will be Cowboy Bebop, which we've had in the game before. It'll probably have some reprints, but it will have a bunch of new cards as well. It has both a new character for Spike and one for Faye, and you will be able to use either one of the two to front the deck.
Let's hope they're not reprinting Punch and Judy.
Well, yeah, they won't reprint every card, and they definitely won't reprint Punch and Judy because Punch and Judy are banned.
Also annoying, but yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Alongside that, we're also getting Trigun Stampede, and a lot of people have asked why Stampede and not regular Trigun. The simple answer to that is that I playtest a bunch of stuff behind the scenes, not so much for My Hero or UniVersus as a whole, though I did do a tiny bit of that for a short period. More for other games, like I did do it for Magic for a while. I've done it for a bunch of more indie games, and I'm doing it for an indie developer that hasn't really hit the scene yet, but is definitely working on some really cool things that are in a similar design space to UniVersus, but less trading card game. And one of those was the Trigun, the original, not Stampede, the card game. Unfortunately, however, the person I was working for does not have the rights to Trigun, the original series. They were working for somebody else who apparently did and was going to sell the whole thing on to a massive board games maker. All of that fell through. I don't know what happened there, but the license definitely belongs to somebody who is not UVS Games. So they cannot currently use original Trigun, which is why we're getting Stampede. In addition to that, it seems there may also be some rights issues with Attack on Titan, because while we are getting specifically the anime for My Hero Academia, and we're getting characters like Selkie and Innsmouth, who never once appeared in the actual manga, we're getting the inverse for Attack on Titan. We're getting Attack on Titan, the manga, instead.
Oh, interesting.
Which is particularly cool, because the people who license the manga here in the UK and the US also have licenses to a whole bunch of other things, including the Sailor Moon that has been asked for by both fans and staff for half a decade now. And I mean, that's had a lot to do with my personal journey in this, but maybe we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, it suggests that it might be a lot more possible for us to get Sailor Moon, and I really hope we do, because Sailor Moon, as an early Magical Girl show, is very shonen, very tokusatsu, very much the style of show that would normally be aimed at the fighty male crowd that this game has long been aimed at. While it's the same sort of style of show, it is very much aimed at a different, more feminine audience. It's in keeping with what we already have, while also opening it up to a whole new market. And just, it'd be really fun to have a lot of silly magical girl characters in there.
Yeah, they're definitely open to that, given the girl power set.
Yes. So one of the things they have announced today is that set 7 of My Hero Academia will be girl power, which is interesting because My Hero Academia's treatment of women is often criticized massively, based on the later seasons, but in the early seasons, it actually wasn't that bad at all. And season 2 specifically had an absolutely incredible scene where we had, in the tournament arc, rather than everything leading up to the big Deku versus Bakugo fight that everyone was expecting, Bakugo's fight goes to Ochako, and while he has all the power in the fight, if she touches him once, he's out, basically. And so it is this massive game of keep away, where all she has to do is get close, and he's constantly threatened and can't let his guard down.
Yeah.
And it is a really good fight scene that shows just how powerful she can be. And we get a few other moments like that for both her and some of the other female characters in the early seasons, but that very much trails off as they decide they want her to be the love interest instead later on.
Yeah, not a big fan of that.
And after that, the only female character that really gets the spotlight is Miruko, which people probably quite rightly suggest is probably just because the author likes muscular bunny girls.
Oh, does that mean we're gonna get Bakugo's mom in some form?
I really hope we get Bakugo's mom as a card. I've been saying this since set 1, because there are a lot of cards which have a Bakugo ability, and just Bakugo's mom is still named Bakugo.
Oh.
That is the family name.
Yes.
So imagine her using burst speed or shouting, "Loser!" at you.
Oh, that'd be great, yeah.
But that's mostly speculation. We do know that this girl power set is coming. We don't know what will be in it, and it is a bit weird that we're getting it at this stage in the game, after most of the female characters have been relatively written out in the story.
It probably goes back a bit too, then.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping we get some cool older stuff in there. I would love it if they included my favorite female character, actually.
Oh, the one from the movie? I forgot her name.
Yeah. First movie, Melissa Shield.
Yep.
Has no abilities, just is really good at making tech, so presumably gets a minus difficulty to her tech stuff, and just is
good at blocking with that name.
A smart character. Well, it's more that her dad was really good at blocking back when he was All Might's sidekick, and the family name just passed down.
But does it mean we get a shield response?
That'd be really funny if we got shield response.
Yes.
But then we also got muscular enhance.
Yes. That sounds like some dodgy stuff you find out.
But yeah, going back, we have coming out next year, very first thing, January the 19th, we get the Cowboy Bebop deck with both Faye and Spike, and the Trigun Stampede deck with both Vash and Wolfwood. Vash is really cool because he gets to, on defense, discard an attack to get 3 more cards to block with.
Oh, wow.
Which just feels extremely in character for him. Following that, February 23rd, we get Yu Yu Hakusho The Dark Tournament, which not only contains all the usual stuff you'd expect to see, but is the start of the Yu Yu Hakusho Spotlight format, which will be like the My Hero format. It'll be Yu Yu Hakusho only, but also every Yu Yu Hakusho set ever printed, including the original.
All 2.
Yes, all 2, which to be fair is not that much, but it's a start. And to help people get into that, they're including an extra time-shifted, as they're calling it, card in every pack, which is particularly interesting because that is the name Magic used for its purple rarity cards back in Time Spiral when it did basically the same thing. Had some interesting old-school reprints. In this, there will be 33 reprinted cards with the new Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament set symbol that will be legal in Standard as well. But there will be 6 to make it to a total of 39 of that rarity that use an old school frame inspired by the original Yu Yu Hakusho pre-UniVersus card game in order to bring those back and bring them back for people who want to get into either the Spotlight format or the Retro format without allowing them in Standard. They will use the old set symbol to distinguish them.
That makes a lot of sense with that.
When these cards come in, the new Standard rules come in, which are basically the My Hero rules, except we have set rotation, unlike in the Spotlight formats. Set rotation will consist of everything printed in the same year as the current set and the 2 years before the current set. And it will be everything with that set symbols. Anything prior to those 2 years will not be legal.
So is it confirmed that the game rules will be the same as My Hero?
It is not quite confirmed, but it is very close to.
Fair enough, yeah.
In that they confirm that Retro specifically will use the rules from Old Standard.
Right.
Which is to say, stacking multiple different characters with the same name and attacking on turn 1. And the other thing for Retro that is huge is we will be using the old symbol rules, which is to say you are not required to choose a symbol when building your deck. You just have to share one symbol throughout your card pool for the turn.
Nice.
If you discard a card from your card pool and cards that remain have multiple symbols that share with your character, you can even start playing off a different symbol if you want. So let's say I play a life card, and then I play a life and fire card, and then I discard the life card. I can now start playing fire for the rest of my turn if my character has fire.
It's going to open up some shenanigans.
Yeah. Retro opens up a lot of shenanigans. Retro is a crazy format. However, I'm pretty sure the new mulligans will be used for all formats.
Well, at least for the big formats, then there's not the confusion of having two sets of rules for the same card game.
The other thing to note is some of the cards coming back with Dark Tournament, some of the time-shifted cards, also include old keywords like safe and desperation. We haven't seen proof of reversal yet, but the fact that we're getting safe implies that we may well get it.
Well, then again, we got the character enhance about the character, right?
True. We did get the Mr. Brave thing. So we don't know for sure, but it looks as though reversal may be coming back. And if it does,
also,
that is going to cause some crazy interactions with some of the My Hero stuff.
Wait, is the safe reprint one of the retro ones or one of the ones you can use in standard?
So far, the only retro-only reprint we've seen is the Toguro Bros, which is an action card that responds to basically any ability on a foundation and destroys it.
Right.
It is very powerful, very broad of an effect, and just basically too good for standard. I am really happy that standard won't be having that. But it does beg the question of what 5 other cards are just way too good, because there are some really wacky things in UU. But yeah, that is the Dark Tournament arc. There will also be a Wish tournament to go along with this. They haven't explained what that means, but in the past, that means it's a tournament where if you win, you can wish for anything that you could wish for with a genie, and if it's within their power, you will get it.
And if not, too bad.
Yeah. My favorite one is, you know how you can't wish for more wishes because that's outlawed in genie rules?
That's not outlawed by the company, I guess.
What you can wish for is more genies. This comes up in Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel Dawn of the Battle Royale on the Switch and possibly other platforms, where at the very end, after beating this ridiculous wish tournament they're putting kids through, the kid's just like, yes, but I wish for more tournaments. And I'm just like, yes, we could do that. We could wish for more wish tournaments.
But could we wish for the old frames back?
Theoretically, yes. We could wish for the old good card frames to return.
But they're probably going to say no.
Well, it's within their power, so I believe, unless they stipulate some other rules, they are obligated to follow through.
Legally binding.
Yeah, right. So that's February's release. Then in March, specifically March 21st, we have Vox Machina and Mighty 9 as challenger decks again. I know nothing about these series, but I understand you know a little bit more.
I only watched a tiny bit of it, but it was completely unexpected. I mean, it's like based on a D&D campaign, and they made...
So what I understand from this is that Vox Machina is specifically an anime made by Critical Role, who were a D&D group, but yeah, had a really popular, slightly animated D&D podcast, basically, and then went off and made their own sort of pseudo-anime about their D&D campaign, minus any strictly D&D elements, just so that there weren't any licensing issues there, because D&D have been very, very up in people's faces about owning everything. Wizards of the Coast in general, so D&D, Magic, all of that, have been incredibly anti-consumer. So moving away from them and still doing something of that nature seems like a very good idea.
It's pretty nice, yeah. Otherwise it would be like only anime, and I guess Godzilla.
And it's also kind of wild that we have a spin-off of a Wizards of the Coast property in this.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Mighty 9, but it is apparently also Critical Role, so I'm assuming it's something similar.
I think it's either a sequel to Vox Machina or like different characters, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's also
probably.
Critical Role, definitely, yeah.
So it's almost certain that these are both going to be basically very D&D inspired, which if you've been following my channel for a while, you know I love FromSoft's D&D inspired game, Lost Kingdoms.
I didn't realize it was D&D inspired.
The gameplay as such isn't, but so many of the creatures are straight out of the monster manual.
Right. Is that why they haven't done Lost Kingdoms again?
No. They just haven't done Lost Kingdoms again because it wasn't popular.
Oh, fair enough.
But just, this touches upon a whole load of lore that I know, but also has infused basically all of English-speaking pop culture as well. And so it's going to be really cool to have some of that in this game.
Oh, absolutely.
Then come May 17th, we have that girl power set we were talking about. We have no idea what that will entail, other than that it's My Hero Academia and probably includes a lot of girls.
Well, judging by the logo, it will entail fangs.
Yeah, I have no idea what that's about, because I can't think of any fanged girls in My Hero. Unless, actually, is Toga a vampire?
I guess so. Does Tiger have fangs?
Tiger's not a girl.
Oh yeah. Do the other cats have fangs?
Maybe.
They're kind of the second version of them, are they? Actual playable versions of them.
I'm surprised that the others didn't become playable, because they have some crazy abilities. Tiger took my friend Yuna to Nationals.
Oh.
I don't know if it played Tiger at Nationals or not, but it definitely ran Tiger in qualifiers, and I think came 6th in the event, but the top 4 had already qualified. But it was a massive event.
Wow, yeah.
So Tiger's playable, and then the one who lets you just pick any card from your deck and add it to your hand seems huge. There's got to be a crazy combo with that. At some point, all of these characters are going to be busted in some way, and we just haven't found that yet. I swear.
I guess so, yeah. But the color scheme is very midnight, actually.
It is. Apart from that hint of orange.
Oh, that's very Jiro, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going to go with this. But I'm excited to find out.
Or could it be a Powerpuff Girls crossover?
No, My Hero doesn't have that. Then come June 21st, the day before my birthday, also the summer solstice. We have Godzilla and My Hero Academia coming as a challenger deck each. And I have no idea what they're doing with that My Hero Academia one. Initially, I thought DRRR or Durarara and Smash meant that this was going to be Ida and Deku. But looking more closely, there appears to also be Float and Splash and Whoosh in there. So we have a whole variety of sound effects, which, as my buddy here pointed out off camera, could in fact be hinting that we're getting the manga character whose face is just made up of sound effects.
They have appeared in the show, so it's possible, I guess.
Yeah, but they've barely appeared in the show. We haven't really seen them do anything, so...
The whole Mafia arc, the whole Season 4 arc, like, most of the characters barely did anything, and we got cards anyway.
So it's entirely possible, but we don't have a lot to go on what they can do. And also, in addition to that, who would the second character for that person's deck be?
Another really obscure one? Could be the Obscure Characters DLC. Sorry, Challenger series.
Could be.
Also, they have a basis. One of the previous UniVersus sets, the very old ones, the ONOC was like...
Yeah, was Super Skullman 33, Jason, the guy behind Jasko's favorite OC, was just some guy who woke up one day, got superpowers, and went, oh, this is cool, I'm going to go fight crime. And then just kind of was an asshole.
And a lot of his attacks are just these sound effect thingies.
Well, his superpower was to realize the sound effects.
Yeah. Which is maybe similar enough to manga?
It is basically the same power as manga. So manga could absolutely steal all of his powers. And if we're going for standard level cards, then by all means, reprint some of those.
I mean, they could always adjust them or just reprint the ones they want.
Yeah, they could. Let's not overlook Godzilla either. Godzilla is the first not even remotely anime-style thing we're getting. As I understand it, Vox Machina and Mighty Nine are a little bit that way. But Godzilla, unlike Vox Machina and Mighty Nine, does come from Japan. Godzilla is the big name in kaiju movies, despite the fact that actually, in terms of how the story plays out, it's less like a kaiju movie and more like a disaster film. Something like, say, The Day After Tomorrow. The two most well-known Godzilla movies would be the original, which is all about nuclear weapons, basically. And then the other really big one is Shin Godzilla, which is all Japan's reaction to a massive earthquake and tsunami, and basically how they all just sat around and did nothing.
Oh, right.
Because everything was caught up in red tape.
Blank actions.
And how actually the human element of it is the problem. Godzilla is very much about the human reaction and not Godzilla himself, certainly in all the big, meaningful movies. Even if you do also get the ridiculous, over-the-top giant monster fights.
Wait, as a character card, we could get humanity.
Yeah, we genuinely could get humanity as the second character card. We do not know what it will be. It could be Godzilla. Well, we know Godzilla will be the first one because his name's in the title. But we could get Son of Godzilla. We could get Ghidorah. We could get Destroyer. We could get Space Godzilla. Military. We could get the Japanese military. We could get all of humanity.
Could we get Robot
Mothra. Boy? We could get Robot Boy. Although it's unlikely because Robot Boy is closer to Astro Boy, which is a separate franchise. But who knows? We might get eventually. They have hinted that the final one on this list that they're not showing us yet is a sci-fi.
Now I want Robot Boy versus the Snacks monster.
Yeah, maybe. We just don't know what we're getting. And then the final one in quarter 4 is an Attack on Titan Challenger series to go alongside a new Attack on Titan set. So presumably that we have 2 sets for the Attack on Titan Spotlight format.
So much Attack on Titan, 2 sets and Challenger series.
I mean, it's only slightly more than you will have at that point.
True, yeah, and a lot of my hero sets have been accompanied by Challenger series-like things.
Yeah, DLC isn't really Challenger series, but we have had...
No, but like Clash decks.
Yeah, Clash decks, initially, the battle packs were quite weak, and I wouldn't consider them on par with what these Challenger series are trying to be.
Yeah. But then again, I'm still running cards from those decks in other decks, so...
Yeah, a little bit. But also, Mirio was basically tournament viable out the box and only got better with additional cards. Overhaul needed a little bit more modification, but was also
you could say
top
he
tier.
Needed an overhaul.
Yeah, but only a slight overhaul.
Yes.
Not nearly the overhaul that you had to give Bakugo.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll talk about your Bakugo in the not too distant future. I do have a video queued up for that. And then we're seeing Ochako doing pretty well at locals lately. The new one, because she just gives such a huge bonus to everything. And I very nearly won last week with Toga. And if I wasn't stupid enough to just play the entire game on 2 foundations, I would have done all right, I think. So yeah, all the recent starter decks have been very tournament viable in a way that the old ones never were. And that's what they're going for with these Challenger decks as well.
I like that. It's very newcomer friendly.
It is very newcomer friendly. The one thing I want to see, though, is if they want these to be tournament ready decks, I want to see a lot of 4-ofs in them. If they're telling us that we should be playing these straight out the box in tournaments and charging us double what they're charging for a normal starter deck for them, then I really want to see them not require us to buy multiples to actually have the peak tournament deck.
Are they charging double then the...
I mean, basically what happened was with the Mirio deck, they decided to remove the free UR that you got and instead just charge you half the amount. Basically, the deck was just double the price because they had to include a UR that was foily and so a little extra difficult to put in or something.
I'd be happy to pay half price if it means not getting a random card is probably going to be useless.
I mean, it's a UR, so it'll probably be useful if you're playing the character, and some of the URs were actually genuinely worth that price, but a lot of them weren't.
Yeah, but you don't know what you're gonna get. It's yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's putting randomness into a precon, which is weird.
Yeah, and then Mirio and Overhaul didn't have that. Likewise, Toga and Ochako don't have that randomness, unless you count the randomness of getting a really badly printed version where all the cards are stuck together, which does happen because printing for this last set has been terrible.
But you can't tell me they're going to include the Yu Yu Hakusho UI in Vox Machina.
No, of course. What they're doing with these instead, rather than you getting a random UR, is you get a booster pack of, I think it's 6 cards that are random XRs.
That sounds very magic, actually.
Because they don't have a set to accompany them, so you won't be able to get those XRs in the sets like you were able to with My Hero.
I feel like I'd still prefer half price.
I would still prefer half price as well, but if this is the way they make them collector's items and make people want to buy more of them, I'm happy with that if it means we can have 4-ofs in the decks.
I still doubt that.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical that they'll do that as well, but everything they've said means that they should be doing that, even if it doesn't mean that they will be doing that.
Yeah. I think it'd be nice if they were also alt arts, not just XRs.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, XRs is my own word. They've said foil premium versions.
Oh, so it might be alt arts, yeah.
Foil premium versions usually means XRs. It could be like they're doing with the Yu Yu Hakusho retro reprints, where they're doing alternate frames for.
I'm not sure how I feel about alternate frames.
It can't be as bad as the frames we've got for set 6 and 7.
I don't know. Are they missing some stats or something?
That's the alt frame characters you're thinking of, which, yes, they're missing difficulty and check. Can't include them in your deck. Likewise, they're missing difficulty and check from Godzilla -1, which is the first Godzilla card we've had. Currently, only legal in standard. Currently, until January 19th at least, the standard format will be just My Hero plus Godzilla -1 as a character.
Which is hilarious.
But yeah, this is everything they've shown us. In addition to this, I don't know if I mentioned at the start of this video, I definitely mentioned I have a little bit of insider knowledge because the guy at Nationals rumored that we were getting Attack on Titan already.
Oh, yes.
And dropped a slight other rumor that Scott Pilgrim was in negotiations. We don't know if that will actually happen. And if it does, we don't know which Scott Pilgrim we're getting. Whether it's the comic, the movie, or the new anime adaptation, which is in fact not an adaptation, but an entire alternate universe sequel thing.
They can't do the movie, that's live action.
They absolutely could do redraws of the movie.
Oh, redraws, right.
Which wouldn't be the first time they've attempted that, because there was, under Jasco, an entire set planned that was just redraws of Street Fighter the movie. I was so looking forward for Interview with a Madman, more commonly known as It Was a Tuesday, being on a card. But sadly, that meme never came to print. However, that said, there is evidence, especially from some of the playtesting that I did, to say that a lot of the Yu Yu Hakusho cards we're getting may in fact just be straight up reprints of what Jasco had planned but never got to release for the Dark Tournament.
Ooh.
I guess not reprints, just straight up prints, but still.
Yeah. I would really enjoy Scott Pilgrim. Very interesting visually, and I think that's one of the most important things for.
Yeah, I mean, if we get the anime, definitely. That is such a really nice drawing style. It is so cute and.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like cute.
But I mean, if we go for the live action, we just get explosive sort of blowout screens of all the sound effects and stuff at times. So there could still be some really dramatic stuff with that.
I prefer cute.
Yeah, I know you do, and I would like the cute just because it would be a little bit different to what we've got already, while still allowing us to keep the combat-based style. But at the same time, more of that combat goes down in the movie and comic, and even the video game, than does in the anime. So what would be really nice is if we got a license to the movie, but still used the redraws in the style of the anime.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. That
would be the best of every world, I think. But we'll see.
I mean, as long as it's style of the anime, I'm very happy.
Yeah. Style of the anime is definitely a want there. So it would be pretty cool if they also did the old pixel art character alt arts that they did for some of the early, say, Street Fighter and Mega Man sets.
And that'd be cool, yeah.
Obviously not to replace the main ones, but as alt arts, they would be very nice.
True.
So that we know may well be coming up, but what we know won't be coming up from rumors is Red Horizon 4. Red Horizon 4 has been planned, but there are a lot of things in Red Horizon, like, say, the character Eva, for example.
Well, either don't include her or give her clothes. It's your SC, you can do it for what you want. I mean...
Yeah, giving Eva clothes would probably be a good thing to do, but... And what it comes down to is it is just very much a set designed for a male audience that apparently, now that UVS games have female staff, the company is less on board with.
Wait. They used to not have female staff?
Jasco was, at one point at least, only 2 people. It was a very small company. For a lot of its time, it was just like, I don't know, 4 men, basically. Obviously, if it was a big company, that would be a glaring issue, but the size it was...
Yeah.
It's somewhat excusable, but the set should not be designed around it.
No,
I talk about Eva being the problem. We do also have stuff like a 4,000-year-old little girl who turns into a dragon, which isn't exactly the most well-liked anime stereotype.
Where does the lore even come from? They're just on cards.
The lore comes from hints of the cards and hints of whatever Jason said, basically.
Right.
There was also supposed to be a Red Horizon anime at one point, but that was cancelled when Jason found out that it cost a stupid amount of money to make.
That's very fair.
People who know the lore have been putting together a fan comic, and I may link to that in the description down below, but that is not official. It's just based on official lore. now that it is an abandoned property.
Oh yeah, I guess it's officially abandoned now.
I mean, they haven't actually come out and said it, but they've come out and said, this has nothing to do with our game. Please don't post about it in Facebook groups for our game, which is about as close as they can do. And yeah, rumor has it that now that UVS Games, a bigger company, is behind the game and has female staff, they consider that an issue and won't be using that property going forward.
They should make a new property. That'd be cool.
They may make their own OCs at some point, but that's not what their goal is. Their goal is to have the ridiculous brand reach of something like, say, Funko Pops, but in a smaller, more shippable form with some gameplay attached. That's what their old marketing guy was saying anyway.
Please don't cross over with Funko Pops.
There's not going to be a Funko Pop crossover.
Good.
In line with that, though, they did mention the style of IPs they're looking at, and we are not getting any of these. This has been explicitly said, are things like Overwatch, Genshin Impact, and World of Warcraft.
Any particular reason?
What, why we're not getting them?
Yeah.
No particular reason, and I mean, maybe they'll renegotiate in the future, but for now, those are just not ones that are in the works.
Oh, they just confirmed them as not being in the works. Okay. I thought it was like a list of, we're never going to do these.
No. These were specifically mentioned because people going, oh, what anime will we get next? And the guys just go, yeah, don't think about anime. It's not going to be just anime.
Oh, good, because right now it seems like it turned into an anime card game.
Yeah. And the stuff they've announced so far this year doesn't really take us far away from that. The Critical Role stuff is anime style, but Western. And then Godzilla is a bit more Western in its themes, maybe, but also very much a Japanese property with definitely some anime elements in it.
Absolutely.
So nothing is whole hog out of there.
Yeah, I like the aspect of just mixing over different media.
Yeah. I'm hoping we get a bit more of that in the future. The one other thing that we got from that guy is the reason why Yu Yu Hakusho is coming back. And it's because they apparently just talked to basically anyone and everyone. And they were all, I guess, apart from the people behind Yu Yu Hakusho. People behind Yu Yu Hakusho were really on board for whatever reason.
So you just did it because it was cheaper to get than Full Metal Alchemist or something?
I don't know about cheaper. I think more easier, because both the company were on board, so they didn't have to do a lot of negotiation, and they already had a lot of the cards designed from when Jasco was working with them. I think that's what it comes down to, really. But they've said in response to that, basically, don't expect to see this happen with everything that Jasco was working with. Don't expect King of Fighters back, for example.
No. I mean, they have to deal with so many different companies.
Yeah, King of Fighters does not have an English language branch anymore. That was why King of Fighters was such a mess before. Basically, I think it was the Japanese branch saw what the American branch were doing and went, we don't like this. We're taking you to court and disbanding you.
Wow.
And so the American branch just ceased to exist. And then when Jasco tried to renew their contract because they'd had printing difficulties, the Japanese branch just went, we have no card game. What are you talking about? And completely disowned them.
Oof.
And that was why the last King of Fighters set existed for about 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was how long it was on the shelves for, before Jasco had to burn any copies they had.
Well, they had to destroy them even?
Yeah, they weren't allowed to stock them.
So they're really rare, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've got a box. I've certainly got a box of some King of Fighters. I don't remember if it's that exact one.
Nice.
I mean, both the last two sets were rare in Europe because they just had shipping problems as well.
Ah, yes. Classic Jasco problems.
Yeah, King of Fighters was a mess. Just pure and simple. I liked some of the character designs. I liked some of the attacks and stuff. I liked the cards. But the actual licensing, the shipping, the printing, all was no good whatsoever.
Yeah. And I feel like at this point we're not going to get 7th Cross again.
The only really good thing that came out of that, I think, speaking of 7th Cross, was that one of my favorite artists was called in to work on a specific character for King of Fighters, because that was how Jasco came across the artist. And then Jasco recommends various artists to their collaborators, including Level 99 Games, who then hired on the same artist to do the entirety of 7th Cross.
Right.
His art looks a little bit different just because he's had many years to develop in between the two. But by that point, he'd clearly developed so much that 7th Cross just looks incredible.
Oh, he can carry a set, absolutely.
Yeah, well, he absolutely carries 7th Cross. 7th Cross has crossed over with at least 3 different games, all of which look beautiful because of it, while also itself having never been printed. So the lore of 7th Cross just doesn't really exist.
Right, so which is not the reason why I think it's not gonna go on in UniVersus.
So it's solely the art that's carrying that. But I mean, also, they hired the same artist to do another fighting game card game thing named Re-Act that I backed on Kickstarter a while back. And that's finally been printed. It's only the prototype printed so far, but yeah. Same artist, it's been printed, and it should be with me in a few months, I suspect. And yeah, I got into that specifically because of the artist.
Yeah, everyone should hire that artist for their card game.
Yeah, everyone should hire Wicked Alucard.
Yes, please do.
If I could afford it, I would hire Wicked Alucard. Just personally.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would absolutely have Wicked Alucard draw me stuff. But, you know, I can't afford actual industry card game artists.
No.
Anyway, we've waffled on this for a while, but
yeah.
The point is, we're getting a whole load of cool stuff. There are a few things we're not getting as well, and I really hope we do get Scott Pilgrim. I really do hope we get Sailor Moon. I would really love something like Soul Eater, or we mentioned Full Metal Alchemist. What I would love from Full Metal Alchemist is if they release it as 2 challenger decks, and one of them is Full Metal Alchemist A, and the other one is Full Metal Alchemist B, so we can pit them against each other and see which is better.
That feels very unlikely, though. I feel like they're only going to get the license for one of them.
It does. It made more sense back in the days when Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers was a set. Now it's more likely that we'll get the license for one of them. And my guess is that we'd get Full Metal Alchemist A as the license, just because it's the easier one to get hold of.
I guess so.
Because it's the less desirable. And I mean, it still has most of the same characters. It would be a little bit weird having Gimli come back as a random mech guy with lasers at his arms and stuff.
Yeah, but if they do multiple sets, like later sets become really weird.
yeah, they really would. But it would still be good for the first sets. Because actually what would be really good is if we got the manga, which is done by the same people who own the license to the Attack on Titan manga, I believe.
Oh.
Because the Full Metal Alchemist manga follows the story that B follows, but has the same amount of detail given to the starting sequences as A.
Yeah.
That was my issue with B, is the first, 11 episodes of B are kind of rushed and uninteresting. It's only after that it becomes great. Whereas A spends the first 20-something episodes focusing on the same stories, giving them the attention they deserve, really putting in all the meaning and detail and making them fantastic, and then just nosedives right after.
And also hire Wicked Alucard to draw the art.
Yeah, obviously. Always hire Wicked Alucard.
Yeah.
Just never don't hire Wicked Alucard, to be honest.
Exactly. Next My Hero set, Wicked Alucard.
Oh god, can you imagine My Hero drawn by Wicked Alucard? That'd be amazing.
It would be so pretty.
It wouldn't look anything like the current My Hero stuff, but it would look fantastic.
Yeah.
The takeaway from this is forget what's coming, really, really hope for who's coming. We want Wicked Alucard in the game.
Phrasing, dude.
See you, everybody.
See ya.